Hi, I'm Bill. I'm doing this video because it is May, and May is Lyme Disease Awareness Month. And just wanted to do this video to kind of show a lot of facts and a lot of things that you should probably know about Lyme disease. There's such a thing as chronic Lyme disease that somebody, as myself, that's had it for quite a while. I got the shirt on to prove it. And just figured I'd do this quick video, and I'm going to do a little section here showing a lot of statistics and a lot of facts about Lyme disease, just to raise awareness out there for people that maybe don't know much about Lyme disease, or even if you have had it or are thinking you might have it. That's part of the reason for raising awareness, is we don't want people to go through the same thing that we've gone through, because it's not fun. So I'm going to go on here with a little section, show you a bunch of facts and stats about Lyme, and then I'll come back and talk to you about something else after that. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a few slides showing some different statistics and some different facts related to Lyme disease. A lot of y'all out there that already have Lyme disease will probably know most of these. Some of them might be new to you. And this is more along the lines of informational purposes for somebody, that doesn't have Lyme disease, or maybe knows somebody that does, that doesn't know a whole lot about it. So this first one describes, people not seeing the ticks that bit them. I can personally attest to this. I never saw the tick that bit me when I originally got sick. I've had ticks on me, different times, but the year I got sick, I don't remember ever finding a tick on me. So, there's the statistics there on how many people that are diagnosed with Lyme actually saw the ticks that bit them. Okay, the next one here, this one is another one that I personally experienced. Fewer than 50% of the people that have Lyme disease got the EM rash, the bullseye rash. Here's another slide showing some stats on the bullseye rash, and this was from a study of 6,000 plus patients, showing that a very small percentage of them that had Lyme disease actually developed the bullseye rash. And there's lots of reasons for that I won't get into here. And 61% of these patients suffered for more than 2 years before getting a Lyme diagnosis, because they, as what happened to me, never saw the tick and never got the bullseye rash. Here's one on the attachment time. So there's a lot of controversy on this, and a lot of, I guess you could say, misinformation and myths out there. There's a lot of things claiming that the tick has to be attached to you for 24 to 48 hours to transmit Lyme. That's not true. That's not supported by any data out there. And the one thing I'll say right here, a lot of these stats you can see there, limestats.org, they have a website that I got all these from, and you'll see down here the source. They have a page on their website with all the references, all the references cited and links to them that you can go to look into stuff like this if you want to. So now I'll talk about testing real quickly. There's a two-tiered testing in this country. The first step being the ELISA test, and the second test being the Western blot test. As you see there, the tests are very inaccurate. And these are people that had culture-proven Lyme disease. They actually had the Lyme bacteria cultured out of them. So, they had Lyme for sure. And the ELISA test was very inaccurate as a screening tool to predict that people actually had Lyme. Here's another one about the two-tiered test for Lyme, how sensitive it is. Less than half the people that actually had Lyme, the tests showed they had Lyme. So, that's absolutely horrible sensitivity. It's not good. And so a lot of people get, what they call false negatives. They could actually have Lyme, and the tests will come back and say they don't have Lyme for various reasons that I don't have time to get into right now. And what the Western blot test is an antibody test. And here is comparing the Lyme test to the Ebola test. So the Ebola tests have a very complicated test that basically looks for the actual DNA of the actual organism. So because they want to know for sure somebody has it, early on, so they can start treating them right away. Why don't they do that with Lyme? And Dr. Lee here, as you see, he says no medical scientist in his or her right mind would suggest measuring antibody levels or antibody patterns to screen Ebola patients for isolation and early intervention. So it's questionable why the ISDA and the CDC continue doing this with Lyme disease. So there's no accurate tests for proving for sure that you have Lyme disease. It is a tool that can be used, but it's so insensitive that it can't be used to fully diagnose people. And also, after you've treated for Lyme, there's no test to prove that the organism is killed off, eradicated, or still in you. So once you have Lyme, there's not really any point in getting retested with the tests that are out there currently. There are some new ones coming out that are a lot better. I don't have time to get into them right now, but I'm just trying to show what's going on and what has been going on for a long time. Another problem with the tests, there's over 300 strains, and a lot of the tests only test for one. As you see there's 5 subspecies of Borrelia burgdorferi, which is the Lyme bacteria, and there's over 100 strains in the U.S. and 300 strains worldwide. So, that makes it way more complicated to try to test for this thing, and why people come back with a negative test. Here's a study again about the bullseye rash. 104 patients with physician-diagnosed erythema migrans rash, EM rash. So the doctor said, yes, you have Lyme because you got the bullseye rash, because as far as they know, that's the only organism that produces that bullseye rash. And one thing I'll add right here, it doesn't always look like a bullseye rash. It can be smaller, bigger, different shaped. So it's a little tricky sometimes to, see whether it's a bullseye rash or not. So these people that were diagnosed with a bullseye rash, having Lyme, a whole bunch of them tested negative for Lyme disease with the current tests. Here's one on the number of people diagnosed in the United States with Lyme. According to the CDC, in 2013, 300,000 Americans were diagnosed annually with early stage Lyme disease. This is not people that have had it for a while and been misdiagnosed, as you see there in the bottom paragraph. This is acute new infections diagnosed. And by the way, they kind of changed their tune. They used to say it was 30,000 a year, and now they say 300,000. Quite a jump. Got to wonder about that. And as a lot of people know, Lyme can mimic a lot of different diseases, and I'm just going to show a couple of them here. There's a whole lot of different things that people get diagnosed with, as I did. Instead of Lyme, they might get diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, all kinds of different things that are syndromes. They're symptoms. They're not the actual cause. And I'll say right here, some of these slides are going to suggest that Lyme causes these diseases. It can. It's not always the cause. I'll just put it that way. It is still under study and a little bit controversial, but it can be one of the causes of symptoms, that are mimicking these diseases that they don't know the cause for. So here, Alan McDonald did a study on Alzheimer's brains, and 70% of them had Lyme spirochetes in them. Here's one on ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Another study, 150 ALS patients. And when they did some more better tests than what are generally used. All of them had Lyme disease in them. Again, not saying that it always causes that, but it can cause a lot of symptoms, similar to MS, similar to dementia, ALS, Alzheimer's, as we saw. And I'll just add in one more interesting little fact before I finish this part. Lou Gehrig actually had a vacation home in Lyme, Connecticut. So that just kind of makes you think. So that's it for the stats here, and I'll talk to you soon. So I hope you enjoyed those stats and facts about Lyme, and hope you learned something there. Please pass that on, share that, so other people out there can be aware and know what to do, know what to look for to prevent themselves from getting sick with Lyme and all the other infections that come along with it. So some friends of mine that came up with these shirts last year, we also did a thing last year called the Kill Lyme Pie Challenge. And what it is, I don't know if y'all remember, like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. It's somewhat similar to that, along the same lines. We just want to kind of do something funny, but something that people can see to raise awareness. And sometimes we have to do some funny things just to sort of distract ourselves from this illness, just to have a little bit of a laugh now and then. So last year, Slice of Lyme came up with this Kill Lyme Pie Challenge, and basically the idea is you want something that looks sort of like a key lime pie, I guess you could say. And all you need is a cheap dollar store pie pan and Cool Whip, or you can use anything that would look similar to Cool Whip. I don't eat dairy because I have Lyme, so I used shaving cream. And then you get some food coloring that's going to hopefully look sort of lime green. And the deal is you get pied in the face, and usually somebody gets somebody else to pie them in the face, but I live alone, so I'm going to do the selfie, I guess you could call it selfie Lyme Pie Challenge. And and what you can do is ask other people to do it. And as far as I know, most of the people that I know that have Lyme are pretty much already been nominated to do this. So the way I'm going to handle this is just anybody else that sees this that wants to help raise awareness for Lyme, do this Kill Lyme Pie Challenge, smack yourself in the face, get somebody else to smack you in the face and record it and share it on social media. So here we go. I'm going to do the Kill Lyme Pie Challenge 2018.